All right, welcome back to another episode. Today we'll be adding a Cosmos database to our existing front end and API. If you've been following along with our series, you know that in the first episode we set up a React front end, and we set up our API using Azure Functions and Node, and then we deployed it all to Microsoft Static Web App using GitHub Action. In this episode, we'll be setting up a Cosmos database in Microsoft Azure, and then connecting it to our existing application. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. On the right is what our application currently looks like if you've been following along with the series. On the left is the README file that I provide with every video. This README file will be linked in the GitHub repo, and that GitHub repo link will be in the description of this video below. So you can go ahead and follow along with that. So first, we're going to go ahead and open Azure portal. I'm going to go to resource groups, select the resource group I'm working with, so test group, press create, and then search for Cosmos. I'm going to select Cosmos and then select Azure Cosmos DB. From here, I'm going to select create, and then we're going to go with this NoSQL option. There are other options available, but I'm going to go with NoSQL. Go ahead and press create and then fill out the form. So for account name, we're going to select Cosmos group. This can be anything you want. I'm going to put a 2 at the end of mine because I already created this Cosmos DB. Go ahead and select your location and then select serverless for capacity. This does take like 2 to 5 minutes to create. So press review and create, and then press create one more time. And this will create your Cosmos DB. One note, we did not touch any of the network settings here. So you should go through and definitely look at guides on how to set these for your use case. This is pretty much different for every use case or how you want to use this, but I don't recommend using all networks for all your purposes. So press review and create, and then press create one more time. I've already created mine, so I'm going to go back to my test group. Then I'm going to open my Cosmos DB. When yours is created, you'll be able to navigate to yours. If this left column is grayed out or disabled, just give it a few minutes to finish building. From there, we're going to continue with this database and container step. So go to Data Explorer on this left column, and then go ahead and create new container, and then copy and paste the information in. So database name, container name, and then for partition key, we're going to use ID. Make sure there's a slash before ID. Cool. Go ahead and press OK or enter, and then that'll start creating the database. I want to thank everyone for watching. These videos have kind of been an experiment, and I've been kind of having fun with them. So I hope everyone has been enjoying them. And if you have any topics for me to go over, go ahead and leave a comment below. Looks like the database is created, the container is created, so that's all good. We're going to go down here to keys. That way we can leave this open. And then I'm going to go ahead and open my project in VS Code. So here's the project we've been working on. As you can see, we have the API folder and then the front end folder. So we're going to go ahead and add a few more files to this directory. So first thing it has us do is cd into backend. So I'm going to follow the guide here, cd API, and then npm install this Cosmos package so we can connect to Cosmos. Perfect. I'm then going to add this local.settings.json file to my API directory. If this is already in your directory, go ahead and just replace the contents with whatever is in this file, or just add to it. And then we're going to replace the copy the endpoint from your Cosmos and replace the value in your .env or .local. And then we're going to also make sure we're on the read write key and copy. So view, copy the key, and then paste the key in here as well. Sweet. We can save that file. So we've added our Cosmos endpoint, we've added our Cosmos key, we updated our local settings.json. Now we're going to add 2 endpoints so our front end can communicate with our Cosmos DB. So I provided these two for you guys. These are not solid endpoints, but they have all the pieces to show you guys how this works. We're going to add one for Git, and then we're going to add one for Upsert. So copy the name of the file, Git example, paste in the code. All the comments are in here about what this does. This is usually broken into several different components, but I put it all in one file just so it's easy to understand. Upsert example, Upsert is a create and edit. So if the item exists, it edits. If it doesn't, it just creates. So go ahead and paste that in there, and then same thing, paste all the code. That should be everything we need for our API. So we're going to go ahead and npm install. So to make sure we have all our packages installed for our API, and then I'm going to npm run this, run start to launch our API. We're going to add a couple more files to our front end just to finish this off. So in our front end folder, we're going to add this one called .env.local. These are our local env settings that will run locally. And we're going to give it this one command just so it knows to connect to the right API. Save that file. And then the last step here is we're going to replace all the contents in app.tsx. So go to source, go to your tsx file, app.tsx, and replace all the content. Not the CSS one, but this React TypeScript file. Place the contents and then save that as well. That should be everything we need for the front end. So I'm going to open a new terminal. I'm going to cd into front end, and then I'm going to npm install, and then npm run dev, which is the Vite command for running our front end. I'm going to go ahead and open this in a terminal. We can see our new front end working, so that's a good start. I'm going to go ahead and view the network traffic on this, and then test our button. So post example data. We can see that it did make a successful call, or 200 request, successful. And so here's the endpoint we called, localhost API upsert. Here's the payload we passed, and here's the response we got back. So we can see that it uploaded successfully. If we want to host this solution in Cosmos, we can go ahead and post this, and our pipeline should run. And then if all we would have to do is go to our existing static web app here. To go to your static web app, go to your config variables, and then add in the config variables that we just added in here. So the same ones that are in your local.settings.json in your app folder. So this app folder, local.settings.json. Make sure that these 4 values are in here. And then after you deploy your application to your production, so if I go over here and I go to my example project and I navigate to the website, it should work the very same way. So there you guys go. We have hosted our example to our website. Adding Cosmos DB to our front end and API. That way we have our full stack deployed. If you guys want to check out the previous 2 videos, that'll show you how to set up the front end and the API, and also how to set up authentication with GitHub as well. So go ahead and check those out, and then leave a like and a comment below if this is helpful. Thank you so much.